Kaiju number 8 is the type of anime to go, guys, we have a situation here. It's the type of show to go, let's finish this. The kind of show to go, I'm getting too old for this. Kaiju number 8 takes place in a world where giant monsters have become commonplace, and I mean huge Godzilla kinds of monsters. These are kaiju, and for Japan, this is just another Tuesday. Streetlights have now adapted kaiju symbols. There is an officially and publicly recognized kaiju defense force. Average citizens now complain about kaiju notifications like they are Amber Alerts.
Paid for this annoying alert sound.
And in the middle of it all, we have Hibino Kafka, a man who joins the defense force to fend off those same kaiju with the borrowed power of a kaiju that found its way inside of him. Guys, I have bad news. Kaiju number 8 is probably the straightest shooting shonen in recent memory, and I mean it is as forward as they come. Or I'm dumb. But honestly, I feel like this probably works better for the story Kaiju number 8 is trying to tell. Hear me out. Picture a world where you're at Starbucks when suddenly an earthquake. Ooh. I'm just kidding. It's actually a giant fucking monster in the middle of the city. Now you get to watch it fucking explode when the defense force shows up and blasts it with this giant ass railgun. That's Kaiju number 8. This is a show that thrives on the rule of cool, on pure fucking hype. Immediately, you're dropped into the heart of Yokohama City, where towering buildings and skyscrapers are crashing down around you as the kaiju continues its rampage, but surprisingly, the destruction feels anything but oppressive. With the way members of the defense force dodge debris, dip through dust clouds, and slide up and down the sides of buildings, the city itself seems to transform into a playground, inviting you to join in on the fun. You got that silky smooth animation, you can feel the scale of these kaiju. But then that soundtrack kicks in, that what is that? Is that the Home Depot theme song? That is an instant 40% boost in testosterone. I almost grew Chester watching this, and that shit is not even in my genes, but that's just how it feels to watch this show. But with that being said, the fights themselves are not nearly as intricate as a show like Jujutsu Kaisen, for example. It feels more like a series of setups to one bombastic Michael Bay-ass payoff, and then it ends and you're on to the next event. I'm just now realizing that's just kind of how stories work, but surely you know what I mean. Come on, each time you know what's coming. You see the build-up. You are waiting impatiently for this climax to stop fucking stalling. Just give me the next fucking episode. But when it hits, it's good. Kaiju number 8 is not breaking any new ground here. It's a show that takes what works and works with it every single time without fail. But honestly, I really appreciate that. I don't have to think too hard. It's hype as fuck, and the story keeps things simple. Hibino Kafka has always dreamed of joining the defense force, even promising his best friend Mina that he'd fight right by her side from the very beginning. And Mina, for her part, would go on to rise through the ranks of the defense force, becoming a captain and really a beacon of hope in the battle against kaiju. But Kafka, now he's getting kinda old. Early 30s old, which in anime years puts this man back in the Stone Age, carving out cave paintings just to, I don't know, talk about his day or some shit. But his dream isn't getting any younger, and it's beginning to look like he won't be able to keep his promise to Mina after all. That is until Kafka meets Reino, an aspiring rookie with his own plans to join the defense force. Reino goes on to give Kafka shit for giving up. Don't worry, that's probably from a good place, it's just how boys bond. But the moment is cut short with the sudden appearance of a kaiju. Kafka sees the future of the defense force being snuffed out before his very eyes, but he's not about to let it happen. Instinctually, he goes for the tackle, kicks Reino away, and tells him to run as far as he can to safety. Then he grabs the nearest metal pipe, draws the kaiju's attention, and the soundtrack kicks in. It's party time. And by that I mean more running. This leads us to the coolest cut in the show, and it's one close call after another until Mina appears at the last possible moment. This tiger looks at me, giving me this attitude, this sass. Stop it. I don't like the way this thing looks at me. Although Mina made it in time, the damage is already done. Kafka's leg is all fucked up from pushing off of it to tackle Reino and also kicking him too hard. So the two find themselves in the hospital room together. How these two survived is beyond me. All this thing had to do was close its mouth. But despite their injuries, the tone couldn't be more hopeful. They just barely survived, but for Kafka, saving Reino was reassurance that he did have what it takes to join the defense force. Hey. Yeah, I saw what you did with Homeboy back there. I just want to say, I really want to be inside of you. He somehow hides this off-screen for 3 months. I think Kafka gets a pretty unique starting point for a shonen protagonist. He's someone on the precipice of giving up on the thing he wants the most, and frankly, I wouldn't blame him for it. You see those moments where he is a bit sad or a bit burdened, wondering how things turned out the way that they did, how Mina ended up so far out of reach. This is a nightmare scenario for dreamers, and an unfortunate reality for that many more people. So to watch Kafka push those doubts away, keep his chin up, and struggle against all odds for the thing he wants the most, it's I mean, it's alright, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's alright. This is about as far as character depth goes for season 1. You get some tidbits here and there, but things are never really explored past a surface level, and the rest of the time, characters tend to fall into some of the more familiar tropes you and I have seen before. Kikoru is a snobby tsundere, Reino is a determined underdog, and Mina is a slice of stale bread. There's some characterization to be had here, but only really enough to be distinct without actually being all that interesting. Even Kafka is actually a pretty typical shonen protagonist, his age only really being played for laughs. The main advantage this offers him is experience, his knowledge on kaiju anatomy from his time on cleanup duty. He shares that knowledge to assist in making for a more efficient time killing kaiju, which is cool, but kinda redundant when anything you punch fucking explodes. The tone in Kaiju number 8 is lighthearted, so you get that comedy anime feeling during the downtime that makes you really want to get up and touch grass instead of watch this. Sometimes the gags even cut into the more heartfelt and personal moments that I'm actually interested in. It almost feels like an MCU movie, but it never really overstays its welcome. This is probably more of a personal nitpick. The story itself doesn't walk much further than its characters, but it is fun, like when Kikoru picks up Kafka's car and just throws it on its side because she is an idiot, because like she's paying for that. And there's this body snatching kaiju that always gives off this uneasy, eerie aura that anything could happen while he's on screen, but unfortunately for him, he's in the show with plot armor. Otherwise, he'd be putting up LeBron numbers by now. But more than anything, when it comes time to hit the climax, the gags stop, the animation picks up, and the characters lock the fuck in. Kaiju number 8 will always deliver on that spectacle, and that hype is easily the best aspect of this show, by a long shot. I think if it just gave its characters that extra time to themselves, it could easily flesh out those extra dimensions and take this show to the next level. But even still, this is an anime that revels in its simplicity, and it's an easy watch for really just about anyone. It was honestly such a breath of fresh air to just turn my brain off to like Jujutsu Kaisen, but a DIY garage project or some shit. And even if there's nothing else really outstanding about it, I found myself looking forward to whatever happened next. This has got to be the safest, most easygoing watch of all time. It is formulaic, it is predictable, you've seen the show done before. All of these things are true. But the thing that separates Kaiju number 8 from the rest and takes it to the next level is nothing. 7 out of 10. I had a great time. This is the right way to flash colors and blast music. And that's pretty much all I gotta say. Subscribe. If you think I'm wrong, then comment and let me know. And also subscribe anyway. Goodbye.